work with school security frequently. But right now we're in the process of trying to increase our readiness, and so we're in developing a 4-phase protocol. And we call the 4 phases prevention, intervention, tactical response, and after action. And prevention is really doing everything that we can do in the schools to assist the school district in preventing anything like this from happening. Intervention is responding to a specific threat of some sort and trying to determine whether or not this is a mental health response that's needed or a criminal justice response. Tactical response is everything from the initial arriving patrol officers and what they need to do, complete through the arrival of the SWAT officers and then the detectives for any crime scene. And finally, after action is all of the things that will need to be done after something like this happens. Students will need to be reunited with the parents who may be coming to the schools. There'll be hundreds of news media, for instance, and managing this will be a school district challenge and a police challenge as well.
Now, has this model already been implemented throughout the district, in every school?
Right now, we're in the process of training all of our staff, and we've got 31 courses that we're offering this year in order to make sure that everybody is up to speed and working off of the same plan. So we're in process as we're speaking right now.
Okay. I have a Seattle PI article here dated October 1st, and on September 30th there was a conference that was held. 500 educators and police officers attended. It was the first for the Washington Association of School Administrators, State Criminal Justice Training Commission, and the purpose of this was to educate folks on how to make the schools safer and suggestions from law enforcement on what to do to prepare for something ahead of time. Some suggestions were made, making law enforcement aware of what time school starts, having maps available, and so on. You attended this conference. Have some of these things been implemented, or what have you learned from this, and what will be done in the Seattle School District?
We did learn in that conference some things that we needed to do. As far as the plans that we were sending to the police office, they need to be current and updated. And every school year we are moving portables around, and we need to make sure that the police officers know where they are and where they're going. We got suggestions on how to assess kids during that conference. It was a very helpful conference.
Good, good. There are some specific things that are in place, some innovative programs that have been done in the school district, both by the police department and with Seattle School District Security. Could you expand a little bit on some specific examples of what's being done? And let's start with you. The bully proofing program is something that I think is especially appealing. Could you explain what that is?
Bully proofing is a program that we have for elementary school, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to help develop a school-wide culture that bullying is not an okay thing to do. And what we do when we're implementing this program is we've got to teach most of the kids how not to let bullying happen. In fact, 80% of the kids never are bullied and never are victims, but they watch it happen and they don't know what to do to help. So we need to help them learn the skills to help intervene when they see their friends being bullied. We also need to help teach bullies other ways to get their way, and we need to teach victims how to be assertive. And that's an ongoing process. And we know that if we educate kids by the time they're in 3rd grade, that they will develop lifelong skills and being much more socially appropriate.
And this is at the elementary school level?
Elementary school level, yes.
Now, when we get to middle and high school, Chief Ferguson, we have some other things that are in place, including police officers that go to the schools. Can you talk about what they do?
Well, we have officers who are in the schools every school day. And the elementary schools are covered by patrol officers who are expected to stop by frequently. The community police team officers take care of the middle schools. Then the high schools are handled by the school emphasis teams. I think you'll hear later on in the program from one of those officers who may talk a little more about that. And then we also have some anti-gang violence officers who are in those schools where we think that the possibility of gang violence exists, and they're there to do everything they can to prevent anything like that from happening.
Good. It seems that the type of person that really acts out and does some of these horrendous things tends to be what people call a loner type. Seems to be kind of a common theme. How does the school staff identify the loner type, and is there a little bit more a proactive approach to identifying that person and getting that person the help they need?
I think one of the things that we're trying to do is really get a good handle on these kids, and we can't just say, well, because you or alone, you're going to be violent. There's clusterings of symptoms. And in fact, at the conference that we were just at, they presented 20 items that they want us to look at. And we'll be taking that back to our staff and making sure that they know all those 20 signs. And that's everything from, do they focus on violence and only focus on violence? Do they consistently prefer TV shows that are violent? Have they threatened or attempted suicide? Those are some of the things that we'll be looking at.
Interestingly, you said before when we spoke that this is really a mental health issue,
Absolutely.
which a lot of people may not really realize.
Right. Most of these kids who have done the shootings in schools have also had suicidal ideation, have had significant mental health histories, yes.
Well, they're telling me we have to stop. We could go on for a long, long time, but I have one follow-up question for you, Chief Ferguson, and that is, are we prepared as a police department to handle anything should it arise, the worst possible case scenario?
I think if something happened tomorrow, we could respond, and we could be very effective in ensuring the safety of everyone involved. But we really want to make sure that we're even more prepared than that, and that's why we're working with the school district. We'll be working with the fire department, with the Children's Crisis Center, the hospital, everyone who has a part of this, parents, students, to make sure we can develop a protocol that will really help us prevent and, if necessary, respond to something like this.
Okay, they're telling us we're out of time, unfortunately. Chief Ferguson, thank you for being here. Peggy McAvoy, appreciate your insight. You have a lot of good information for us. Next on Up Close, Joe Cepeda will take us to the school emphasis team and introduce us to those officers.
Thanks, Tina. To continue with our focus on youth, this month's Up Close segment will be highlighting the Seattle Police Department's School Emphasis Team. The primary function of this unit is to make sure that there is a safe learning environment for all students and to build partnerships between those students, school administrators, and the Seattle Police Department. Let's hear from School Emphasis Team members Brian Clenay and Kevin O'Neill.
Actually, we have a very unique partnership with the schools. Each officer is on a paging system so that if they need an officer, they would page that particular officer, that school team officer. And in extreme circumstances, or if the officer's not available, they would call 911. But we have been able to reach a good portion of the administration where they would call the officer directly through the paging system.
The overall response to us being on campus, it's mixed. Some students are happy that we're there. Others ask us, well, what are you doing here? They automatically think that, you know, something's going on just because the police are there. And we tell them, hey, nothing's going on. We're just here to, you know, check on the school, make sure nothing does happen, and they should feel very safe that since we're there.
What's made the relationship better with regard to having officers in the schools is I remember the very first day, some 4 years ago, when I drove up to Roosevelt High School, parked my marked patrol vehicle in front of the school, got out of the car, walked up the stairs, and I think I fielded probably about 75 questions as I walked up the stairs to Roosevelt High School. What are you doing here? Is there a problem? What's the problem? Now, 4 years later, as I do the same thing every day, drive up there, the students are, hi Kevin, how you doing? What's going on today? I went out Friday night, I did this, that, and the other. And there's more of a relationship built with the students. On the other hand, the fact that the officers are seen throughout the halls in the school, assisting teachers, the administration, it's become a unique working partnership that I believe, if you were to ask the administration in the school, I think they would agree that it's a good partnership, a very workable thing.
Well, the school emphasis team helps us to address a number of issues regarding safety, but also regarding school order. And the school order pieces, for me, mean that that if we can discuss those, not in a crisis mode, but in a problem-solving, we're all a part of this, we're partners in figuring out how to do this, then I think we have a much better chance of both the city and its police department and the school and the district being able to kind of put forth the notion that we're that we are making every effort to operate safe schools, that we do want orderly learning environments, and that we're willing to work together to make all of that happen.
I think what makes sense about the school team being there is because of that relationship that we need to build with the youth, with the young people. Not necessarily making arrests, not necessarily being the tough officer, but being there to be able to answer questions. There have been many instances over the time period that I've spent at the high school, in the high schools, that it'd be very difficult for me to pinpoint one. In general, I think it's finding out about the party that may take place on a Friday night, where that party's going to be. For some reason, the students feel comfortable telling me. And then in turn you come back and you relate that information to Third Watch. So we are sort of working together and getting some of that information out about situations about keeping the students safe both in the school and outside of school hours.
My primary message to anybody watching right now, get involved in the school. Even if your kids don't go to that school, get involved with the school so you can express, you know, anything that you want to say or feel about what's going on at the school, and maybe things will be a lot better for the school itself and for the neighborhood around.
As you can see, the School Emphasis Team plays an important role in creating a safe environment for Seattle kids. You shouldn't have to feel afraid if you go to school. And unfortunately, in today's society, we must continue to work towards preventing school violence from occurring. This is one situation where I wish that we could work ourselves out of a job. Now let's go to the newest member of our Beyond the Badge team, Officer Diane Sossman, and learn more about the Seattle Police Department's Explorer program.
Thanks, Joe. In keeping with this show's theme on youth, we thought it would be nice to get away from the enforcement side and show you some officers who are working with Seattle's youth in a positive way. The program is Seattle Police Explorers. Its mission is not only to work with kids to expose them to a law enforcement environment, but also to build self-esteem and confidence. Let's listen to Officers Vic Miner and Alvin Little as they explain more about the Explorers program.
Well, a lot of the agencies in this region have Explorer programs. Seattle, there are two posts, 943 and 944. 943 is based out of the South Precinct, and 944 is based out of the East Precinct. So if a youth wants to get information, they can contact Alvin Little at the South Precinct, or they can contact me here at the East Precinct, and they can become part of the program.
I think what the kids get out of our post is, number one, they get self-confidence. And my goal as a post advisor is I don't want to build law enforcement officers. I want to build leaders. And I want my kids to be community leaders. I think that being involved in law enforcement, wearing a uniform, having some self-discipline, training, and being around police officers who have set a higher standard than what I think the normal professional would set, I think that gives them more of a sense of being, more of a sense of, hey, look, I can achieve these goals. I can have confidence in myself and what I'm doing. And that's what I'm trying to do. If our young people decide that they want to get involved in exploring, in police work, that's great. But whatever they decide to do, and a lot of my older kids are in college now, I want them to be successful at that.
The program is a great way to start a career in law enforcement, and even if you are just thinking about it, even at a younger age of 14, let's say, it just really gives you an idea of what policing's about, and it makes you grow as a person. On the other hand, you gain a respect for the police officers that you see on a daily basis, and you can see them at a later time and recognize them and have conversation with them. And you learn a lot about the police officers and how they are just people like you and I. And it's very helpful, I think.
The Sport Scouts gets involved in a lot of community events. A lot of the events are community-based. They do some work with law enforcement as well, but a lot of things they do are community-based, like the law enforcement memorial program they have each year. The kids are at that event. They do some of the community events, such as the Seafair Hydros. They do the Seahawk games. They do the Mariners games, things like that, whereby they're there to assist officers that are on site, and they do simple things. They're never put in harm's way, but they're there to assist with lost kids, maybe fingerprinting kids for parents, things like that. So they assist law enforcement and get involved in that way.
As post advisor, I've learned a couple of important things about young people. There have been a lot of negative things that have gone on with teenagers in this country lately, and the kids that I deal with, the kids that I see in Exploring are absolutely wonderful. I've learned that when you set boundaries and goals and parameters for young people, that's all they want from you. They want to know where to toe the line. They'll toe that line, but if you set the discipline with them, they won't cross it. I've learned that the kids are so open to ideas. They're so open to what you can feed them. They're like a sponge. Everything that you give to them, all the training, all your personality, all your emotion. I tell my kids all the time that I love them, and I think they truly believe that. And they just soak it up, and they truly believe that you care about them, which I do. And I think that with all the negative press that's gone on with young people, I see the different part of it. I see all the good kids. I see all the kids that are out there. They care about the community. They're working in the community. They take pride in themselves. They take pride in being involved in exploring. So I don't see all the negative things, and for me, that's been a real positive.
As you can see, the Explorer program offers Seattle youth a valuable opportunity to learn about law enforcement and to build life skills they can take with them in the future. If you would like more information, please contact Vic Miner at 684-4370 or Alvin Little at 233-1544. Next up is Neighborhood Focus. We look at the issue of gangs. Let's go to our student reporter, Aaron, from the Northwest School, as he looks at this issue.
Thanks, Diane. As Diane mentioned, I've been helping to produce this next segment you're about to see on gangs in Seattle. But before we start, we took our camera crew out and asked a few of my fellow classmates what they thought about gangs. At the school you're currently going to, is there any gang activity, any gang representation or influence?
Not that I know of. There was at my old school, but I don't think there's any at my new school.
Not really. It's just a basic part of city life.
Some of the egregious act of the police department. I'm talking about acts that was committed against me personally. And I say to you, and everyone here, you don't know what it is till you have been affected personally when unexpectedly or people who you assume is there to protect you, then all of a sudden the table is turned and they are attacking you. I was in the front of my house out putting a lawnmower in my car, and this was not a white police officer, this was a black police officer. And they was called to the scene, and inadvertently this officer just turned on me and told me to come and participate in the police action that was taking place aside in the front of my house. And when I respectfully told him that I would, in just 1 second while I was putting the instrument in the car that I was putting in there, he forcefully stated, I mean now. I want you here now. And after he made those type of statements, he came and forcefully pushed me over out into the street. A detective, an off-duty police detective, an on-duty police detective, Detective John Hayes, one of the detectives who was here, came to tell this officer that what the investigation was about, I was not involved. And this officer was so out of control that he turned around and cold cocked Detective John Hayes. And this officer was really out of control. And Of course, he brutally attacked me and abused me. I was taken to court. The case was dismissed. I was charged with obstruction of justice. I took it to the city council. I took it to various community agencies, and I took it to the community. I protested it annually on behalf of people who are being brutalized by the police department. And I say that I have been had to pay for any offenses that I have made. And my request now is that I be paid for the offenses that was committed against me. And that's why I'm here, to get paid for those offenses, have justice and get paid. And because I have had to pay, and I expect the same thing. And I would say that if the panel is sincerely about justice, I suffer now from the abuse that I received from those officers, and I expect compensation for that.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. Mr. Rue, would you please, do you mind standing to the mic here for a few more seconds?
Eddie Rye, Mr. Rue, have you contacted an attorney to take this case?
Yes, sir. I had an attorney. It's all on matter of record. The police department offered me $20,000 to settle the case. I felt that it was more than that because, and I went on and fought the case, and eventually 12 white jurors and one black juror who voted in my behalf, the 11th jury said that I wasn't entitled to that amount of money. And so, but I feel that if I am abused the way that I was abused and I was attacked the way I was attacked, that I was totally due of all that I requested. And I just would admonish you to, if it's any way possible, to have whoever it is in charge to compensate me for the acts that was committed against me.
Just a minute, Reverend Jeffy.
Do you think that the process of litigating against the police department, that there is a fair chance of you winning any kind of suit against the police department on the basis of your experience?
Well,
do you think that you had a fair?
Absolutely. I don't think that I really had a fair opportunity to win against the police department due to the fact of some of my past history. I have been incarcerated, I've been in prison, and so I knew that all of those things was working against me. And I knew that when I brought the allegations that it was going to be really difficult. But I thought that due to the fact, and the officer, and I do commend him, Detective John Haley, he admonished me to fight the case all the way out. Seeing what happened, I'll be there, and he was.
Did he testify?
And he did testify. He came to court and he testified.
Well,
I respect him.
What do you think we can do to, in cases like yours, to get people? I mean, I think you were right. If you were treated that way, compensation should be given to you. But what do you think, given the fact that the courts are not going to, and the jury, as you said, was not compelled to hear based on who you were, what do you think that this community can do to get, I know you might not be able to answer that question, but do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, I know that
in terms of litigation, in terms of trying to get a fair hearing.
Yes, sir. I think that there are other bodies in our system that can compensate. I don't know just which one, whether it's through the city council or through whatever legislative body that there is that can check these things out and to compensate those of us who have been illegally abused. I know that there must be some way, and if it isn't one visible right now, the panel should be able to find some way in order to redress these type of egregious acts.
I'm going to ask you. My name is Roberto Maestas. Thank you for your eloquent testimony. Am I to understand that? Am I to understand that you were offered a settlement of $20,000 and you decided to take it to court and then you didn't get anything at all?
That's correct.
Did your attorney advise you to take the settlement or to keep fighting it for a bigger amount?
Well, my attorney, he advised me to go ahead on and pursue the legal remedy in regards to the court, and that's what I did.
Yeah, it seems that if the Seattle Police Department was willing to offer you some amount, and then the jury just didn't offer you any amount. I mean, they denied you everything. That seems like a very major contradiction. Is that what happened then?
Yes, that's exactly.
And can you take it to another? Can you appeal that decision, or do you have to have another? Do you have an opportunity to put another litigation on it?
Yes, I had that opportunity, but due to the fact that I was injured, I was unable to work from my job. So by the time it went to court, I was unable to make the necessary legal appeal, the funds for the legal appeal. And so consequently, I wasn't able to pursue it further in the legal arena. And so this is why I would speak to this group in the manner that I'm speaking. I'm not begging, I'm just saying what's rightfully due me in regards to the act that was committed against me.
Okay, one last quick question. This officer that was out of control whipped on or beat on or struck another officer, do you know whether this officer will still remain on the police force, or do you have any idea about that?
I don't know whether Officer Brian Miles is his name, is on the police force or not, but he is the one that brutally attacked me,
and also hit the other officer.
And also hit the other officer, and knocked his glasses and almost knocked him down.
All right, Mr. Rue, we want to thank you again for your testimony, your worthwhile testimony, and it will certainly be placed in the record. The last person that I had on my list for this evening to place testimony into record is Ms. Teresa Porter. Ms. Porter.
My name is Teresa Porter, and I guess I've been dealing with the police for about 10 years. I have 3 sons. I filed internal investigation, I guess, reports for all of them. Some came back positive in our favor, some didn't. I also was arrested in '91 when I wanted to make a testimony for a man who they said stole in the store but didn't. And when I talked to this police officer about wanting to be his witness, not in anybody's way, they arrested me for it. And they took me to the East Precinct and told me, you know, Teresa, your only problem is you got a big mouth and you don't mind your own business. And I told him I have a freedom of speech, and he told me you don't have any freedom. They took me to King County Jail. I got out on my own recartness. Then after that, I went through court for 6 months, but I was dismissed by Judy Hightower. I got a lawyer. He was black. He sold me out to the public defender, and I got Lamar Mills and Jackie Walsh, and they did me right. And then also, my son had Lisa Delgar, who you heard speak tonight. He had $5,000 worth of fines on tickets 2 years ago, and also 360 days in jail for suspended license, driving with suspended license. She had all that dropped. She had the $5,000 fine plus the 365 days dropped because of the fact that she went to the judge and told him the only reason why they stopped him was because he was black. And I have the information that I can get to you guys. Also, I have a mentally ill son. He's in and out of Harborview and kind of in and out of the system. We've been keeping him out of jail. I have a public defender who's really good also, that's been really working with us for the last 3 years on keeping him out of jail and keeping him out of prison. But the advice that I could give tonight would be that the saying that James Brown says, you don't have to give me nothing, open up the door and let me take it for myself. That's the type of person that I am. And I like to demand what I want. I don't want to have to always ask for what I want. And one thing that I learned about the system is that the laws are made to be broken legally. Okay. That if they make a law, then it's able to change. And that is the way that I have been able to exist around here. But I will get some testimony. And another thing I wanted to say was some of the people that you want to get the written testimony from, you might have to get it with a tape recorder, because I don't know if everybody can write. I happen to be a writer, and even I don't really have all that time right now. But anyway, time. Oh, time. Okay. Well, the green light was still on. So, but anyway, I'll try to get some information to you about what I just said.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Let's give ourselves a hand here. Let the record show that this body is convening at 10:30 for the record. But before we do, let me, number one, thank each and every one of you for coming out and staying the full length of time, and for those who participated, just period. It was magnificent. We have a lot of good testimony here. I think we have a lot of good information that we can work with. And I think, I want you to please join me in thanking, number one, Reverend Dr. Robert Jeffries, Mr. Eddie Rye Jr., who's been keeping me straight for a number of years and didn't fall down on the job tonight, and Mr. Tony Orange, who is the director of the African American Commission. And I'll skip over to Mr. Haywood Evans, who is the director of this fine establishment. And God knows what we would do without our own Mr. Roberto Maestas of the El Centro de la Raza. Please, let's just rise and give these wonderful people a hand for sitting through all of this.